Everyone wants a personal AI assistant, and I have one. It runs 19 automated agents. It knows my clients probably better than I do some mornings, and it preps me for calls, tracks my pipeline, writes my briefs, flags things I've forgotten. I'm going to be honest with you, 90% of what it does is fancy scheduled scripts and file lookups. It's not thinking, it's not reasoning about my business, it's following I wrote in a text file. That's the part that changes everything. The gap between where we are now and a real AI employee is closing faster than anyone realizes. Let me show you both sides. Every morning at 8 a.m., script reads my calendar. It finds every meeting I have. For each person on my calendar, it pulls a file I wrote about them. Not their LinkedIn bio, a file I wrote about how they think, what motivates them, what we discussed last time, what I need to watch out for. Piles all of that into a brief. Like it's 2 minutes of reading and I know my entire day. An hour before every call, another script fires, checks my calendar, finds the next meeting, pulls the relevant files, and gives me a prep card. Who they are, what we talked about, what's pending, what to watch for. What's crazy about this is what happens is I go on my phone here and I actually can see every single thing that it sent my way. I know it's blurred out. It's just in WhatsApp. It's nothing crazy. Like at 10 a.m., I have another script that scans every relationship file I have and flags anything that's gone stale. I haven't talked to 8 days and I have an open item with him. Simple, useful, keeps things from falling through cracks. Morning brief, my prep, follow up detection, really. It's three agents, it's calendar reads, it's file lookups, and scripts. No AI magic. There's no autonomous reasoning. There's no GPT moment where it says something brilliant unprompted. So, why does it feel like having an assistant? Well, it's because of the files. You see, the scheduled scripts are trivial. Anyone can set up a cron job. That does take work. But the part that makes the whole thing feel like it knows me is the information architecture underneath. I call that context engineering. There's a file called claude.md that sits at the root of my working directory. It tells my Claude model who I am, what I'm working on, who my clients are, what my priorities are this week, how I communicate, and what it should never do. One of the things is it doesn't just give this all at once. It has kind of an index system. So sometimes I need to go a bit deeper into a topic and it's going to send it to the right file to understand what we're talking about. Right now, it's at about 400 lines. And it's the single most important and valuable file in my entire business. Because when I start a new session, it doesn't start from zero. It reads that file and it knows Simon has a call with Gab at 2:30. Gab is my co-founder and he resists phasing and he likes having stable deliveries. He's someone who's motivated by GTM and understands the context behind things. The last call was productive, everything was accepted, and we're currently working on why, and our next deliverable is on this date. So the AI doesn't start from zero. It's not that the model is being smart. It's more that I'm organized. The model is just reading my notes. Here's what most people miss. The model doesn't need to be smart when the context is good. A mediocre model with great context will outperform a brilliant model with no context every time. When a better model ships, it reads the same file. It just executes better. You don't need to rebuild anything. You upgrade the engine and the chassis stays. That's why I actually don't care which model is the best right now. I care about my context layer. That's the part that compounds. There's actually a path from where most people are to where this is going. And there are 5 levels. Level 1 is what I just showed you. The AI remembers you. It has your claude.md, your Your entity files, your voice preferences. I think I'm going to coin this. There's a path from where people are to where this is going. 5 levels. Level 0 is where 95% of people are right now. You open ChatGPT, you ask a question, you get an answer. You close the tab. Next time you open it, the AI has no idea who you are. Every session is day one. So that's kind of a chatbot. Next up, you've got level 1, what I call a context aware assistant. Level 1 is kind of what I just showed you. It's the AI remembers you, it has your Claude MD, your entity files, your memories, your little network, and your voice preferences. It runs tasks for you and it surfaces information. It doesn't think for you, but it shows up prepared. Level 2 is what I'm calling like an autonomous worker. Level 2 is where it starts getting really interesting. So my agent loops that run multi-day projects. Like I define 15 tasks in a file and that agent picks the highest priority one. It implements it and then tests it and commits the code and moves to the next one. And it doesn't necessarily have to be code. Sometimes it's thinking projects. I need to do research on X, Y, and Z with regards to macroeconomics or my local regional, or maybe a client that I'm talking to, and I need to understand where they came from in the history of their company in order to get better context for them. It completes these missions, goes through something like 150 to 300 tasks. All of this happens while I'm in client meetings and doing other work. Level 3 is where we're going. Level 3 is a junior employee. I'll say we're practically there. By August, with the next generation of models, the agents won't just execute tasks I defined. It'll be proposing tasks. It'll connect dots across my calendar, my email, my transcripts, and my entity files. It'll notice that a client posted something relevant on LinkedIn and draft a message that references our last conversation. Some of this is already happening. I feel like the gap is between the reliability and costs. Level 4 is earned trust. The agent has learned my approval patterns. It knows which emails I always approve without edits. It knows which decisions I always want to make for myself. The boundaries aren't static rules anymore. They're learned from hundreds of interactions. Level 5 is a partner. I expect to see this around late 2027. It has perspective. It pushes back on my ideas. It manages other agents. I feel like we're further from this one, but the architecture is pretty clear to me. Here's the thing that matters: the foundation is the same at every level. It's this like cornerstone document that I wrote. For me, it was 6, 7 months ago already. And it works for levels 0, 1, and 2 in the sense that it has to summarize who you are. What biases do you hold inherently to give that context to the model so it can better work with you? It works at levels 2, it'll work at level 4, and the entity files I'm building now will be the relationship context for an agent that eventually manages my pipeline autonomously. I'm not rebuilding at each level. We're all just building once and upgrading the intelligence layer as the model improves. I get this one all the time, but why are text guardrails not good enough? I say in this file, this master file, this Claude MD or Agents MD or whatever, don't do this. I know some of you are thinking, oh, if the AI is getting more autonomous, how do I trust it? Real talk here is you can't trust a non-deterministic model. Just because you wrote somewhere, never send or delete emails without my approval in a text file, that's a suggestion. It's not a boundary. It works until it doesn't. The real trust architecture has layers. At the bottom, you have hard deterministic boundaries, kernel level restrictions on the processes it can even access. It's file permissions, it's network restrictions, it's rate limits. It's the model can be as creative as it wants, but the sandbox is the sandbox. I personally use nono.sh from Luke Hins on this one, and I strongly recommend it for your agentic work. On level one is what I call hard boundaries. It's these deterministic rules. So you have to scaffold your permissions. Your tools decide what the agents can call. If you give it the read calendar tool, it can do it. That's deterministic. That's often Python or some other language. Calendars, not yet. Send emails, for me, only through the approval queue. At layer two is really above that, you have really that application layer. So approval queues, audit logs, everything the agent does is recorded and reversible. And at the top, you have your Claude MD or Agents MD file. It's this behavioral layer, how the agent communicates, what voice it uses, how it approaches different people. Most people put everything at the top and call it guardrails. That's not guardrails. That's a sticky note on the monitor. You onboard an AI agent the same way you onboard a real employee. You don't give everyone access to the CEO level files on day one. You give them restricted access on day one, and they earn trust over time. The trust happens as you progress, and it happens at every layer, not just the text layer. AI won't replace everyone, but I think it will replace 95% of the tasks we do. So let me be clear. I don't think AI replaces humans. There's a split coming. 95% of business tasks will be handled by agents within 2 to 3 years. They'll be processing invoices, they'll be drafting emails, they'll be preparing for calls, they'll be tracking pipelines, they'll be writing reports, following up, scheduling, all of it. So for me, the 95% is execution. It's repetition, it's synthesis, and agents are already better at this than most humans. They don't forget, they don't get tired, they don't skip steps. There's still this 5% that's going to stay human. The 5% is judgment, taste, and genuine creation. It's knowing when to break the pattern. It's the non obvious insight that comes from 20 years in your domain. It's building a relationship where someone trusts you because of who you are, not what you know. Models are incredible at novel combinations of existing patterns. They're not great at true non-conformity. The kind of thinking where you see something nobody else sees, and you're right. Here's what this means for you. If you're a domain expert with 10, 20, 30 years of experience, you're already in the 5%. You've already done the hard part. The problem is you're spending 80% of your time to do 95% of the work, the emails, the follow ups, the prep, the admin, the reports. What I'm showing you is how to flip that. Build the context layer, hand off the 95%, and spend your time on the work only you can do. The judgment calls, the relationships, the creative leaps. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. And that's kind of what having this personal OS does. It's not meant to replace you, it's giving you back the hours you're wasting on work that doesn't need your brain. So, how do you flip it? So, why build this now? Why not wait until models are better? I think it's because of how improvement works in AI. It's not this linear function, it's combinatorial. So, when reasoning improves, that's nice. When context windows grow, that's useful. When tools use gets more reliable, that's helpful. And when inference gets faster and cheaper, it's convenient. When all four improve at the same time, you don't get 4 times better. You get entirely new categories of capability that just weren't possible before. Better reasoning plus longer context means the agent can hold your entire business in memory and make judgment calls about it. Better tools use plus faster inference means that the agent can chain 10 actions in real time instead of one action slowly. The combination space is expanding exponentially. That's why the timeline on this is months, not years. And here's the part that should change what you do this week. The context layer you build now is the context layer that powers every future level. The claw.md that you write this weekend is the same file that a model twice as smart reads in 6 months. The entity files you create for your clients are the relationship memories that an autonomous agent uses to manage your pipeline next year. The voice calibration you do today is the communication standard that holds as the agent takes on more responsibility. You're not building something that becomes obsolete. You're building the foundation that gets more valuable as models improve. So, everyone who waits for better models, for better AI to start building, will be writing their Claude MD from scratch when the rest of us are at level 3 with like a junior AI employee beside them. The people who build now and have 18 months of calibrated context, 18 months of entity files, 18 months of learned voice preferences and trust boundaries. That's not a head start. That's a different category. If you want to build your own, here's what I'd do. I would write your Claude MD. I would tell the AI who you are, what you're working on, who matters, and how you work. It's about an hour. I'd write 3 entity files for your most important relationships. It's not contact info. It's really who are they? How do they think? And I would set up a morning brief that reads your calendar and your entity files and gives you a 2-minute summary. Run it for a week. Update the files every day using your agent. Watch it get better. That's level 1. Everything else builds on top. The skill file for this one is open source. You can click on the link below and it walks you through the whole thing. It's this Claude skill that I've created that helps you build this yourself.